But for me, that was something that I did miss a lot because I wasn't ever in that right mind frame because I can't be in the bed with 4 other women in the room masturbating at night. You know what I'm saying?
All right, Prison Stories 101. We are back. And Tara, I was asking, did you ever have a nickname back then? Did you ever go by anything?
I didn't really, though. I didn't. I mean, when I was young, they called me Tay-Tay, but I mean, I should have had a nickname. You know, everybody in the drug game has a nickname, but I didn't.
Right. You had mentioned that, you became probably your worst self at a certain time where you actually put fear in people. And did you feel like it was an alter ego? Or do you feel like that was always in you? I used to tell myself, like, I identified myself like I am meth. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's who I am. Like, that's who I knew I would always be. I always said I would be the granny outside, literally on the rocking porch, smoking a pipe. And it became like I made women do things, do things for a bag. I treated, people badly because I could, because I had what they wanted. And I don't know how far I can go in telling stories and stuff of what I did, but I mean, you could go far. I look at worst case scenario. You maybe move like a pimp and made women probably provide sexual favors.
Yeah.
To get high.
I degraded, some women because they had done some things to me. I never did anything to anybody that hadn't done anything to me, like sleep with my boyfriend or, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. So I never did anything just to just anybody. It was always somebody that had done something to me. But I, locked a girl in my car one time because she got pills from me and couldn't pay and scared her pretty bad, but I had to because I was the one that I had no other way of getting my, I had nobody to go get my money for me. I had nobody to go do these things for me.
Exactly.
So,
intimidation is, again, it works. It works.
Yeah.
In prison, did you ever see a girl get turned out?
Yes.
As far as she never messed with a woman before?
Yes. Several times.
Yeah. Can you give us maybe 1 or 2 stories as far as you've seen that? Like, it's something that they want, it's something that they're curious about, or are they forced to, like, because I've heard women have to, like, force themselves to go down on another woman, like, and they never, like, had that.
So women, whenever you come into prison, there's, they call stud broads. And stud broads are the boys in prison. They're the ones with short hair, they're cute, and they're like little boys. And
like studs.
Yes. Stud broads is what they're called. And so they will turn with a lot of, especially young girls come in, probably never been with a woman or whatever. And, they'll turn them out and they don't force it on them. They give them things when they get in there, like, oh, you need some coffee or, oh, you use my shampoo or, you need this, you need that. I'll get you this off commissary. And then it kind of turns into a I need you type thing. And so they end up, in a relationship with this person.
I would consider it because, again, in my mindset that women in the free world will be with other women just because they want to. Is it more so okay in there? Like, I know a woman might not be like, well, I never did that. But once it happens, are they like, well, that was enjoyable?
Yes, for sure. Okay. For sure. It's more acceptable for women to be with women. You know what I'm saying? It's not acceptable for men to be with men. I mean, I'm not against,
Yeah,
but it's just in society as a normal, yes, in society's eyes. It's more normal for a woman to be with a woman. And so, especially in prison, it's not considered taboo. It's not considered you're a punk. It's not considered you're a nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? It's as far as it would be in a men's prison.
Have you seen a relationship get so far as, marriage or like they get out and they get married? Yes. Have you seen that happen?
I have several friends actually on Facebook that were locked up together, that were women that were locked up together, and they go out into the free world and they start a relationship, they get married.
So what do the COs consider when, like, because again, it's a bunch of women. Like, do the COs even care that 2 women are in the cell doing whatever? Like, is it?
They do.
Do they watch? Do they like, oh, this is...
They do care. It's not okay for it to happen, but, you put up sheets, you put up sheets over your bed, or you have a guard stand by the door, or I've seen girls do it in Carswell, the medical facility. We had to go up it was this building, like this big, tall story building, and you had to go up these stairs in order to get to your dorm. Well, there's a spot where there's no camera. And so women would just go down there while everybody else is walking in the door, going up the stairs. These women are just going down on each other right here. You know what I'm saying? Like, because they don't care. They got no self-respect. They're just trying to get it in.
No self-respect is crazy. But with that,
to me,
also,
it means they have no self-respect if they're willing to do it in the stairwell with everybody watching them when they're coming through. You know what I'm saying?
Very much so. Have women used sex as a way to get favor from COs, as far as like, hey, I need either something in here, or I need, whatever they need? Do they use it as a weapon, or they use it as favor? Yeah.
I worked in the commissary in Carswell, and there was actually a boss in commissary that had relationships with his workers in commissary, and he would bring them outside gifts, and they would have these different watch bands, and you'd be like, oh, how'd you get that watch band? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And it was known, you know what I'm saying? But it was, I don't even know. It was known against the women, but women really didn't talk about it, or nobody did anything about it. I mean, I think I actually got heard that he actually ended up getting fired because he went crazy after he got exposed for being in a relationship with an inmate. But it's definitely common.
You had technically cleaned yourself up, gotten a job. I mean, you did everything right. When it comes to the trial, did you have a court-appointed lawyer?
I did. I had what they called a DEA. I called him a DEA lawyer. When I told you I went into Fort Worth, and right before I got out, what you do is it's called a proffer. And so a proffer is where you go in and you basically admit to, what you did or whatever. It's not supposed to be able to be used against you, but it absolutely is used against you. And so I had a lawyer that was right there, Johnny, on the spot. The DEA, the DEA was like, oh, hey, here's your lawyer, basically. That lawyer didn't do anything for me. He didn't fight for me. He didn't tell me anything. I mean, I had what they called a DEA lawyer, absolutely.
When you're going through your trial, did you feel like this thing is done? I mean, did you feel like he put up at least a good fight to where you're like, I don't know, I might get off? Or
no, so it's different. So for the fact if you take it to trial, he told me that if I took it to trial, because I had no evidence against me. The only evidence I had against me was what two people said, and then me saying, yes, that I did this, me admitting my guilt. They had no phone calls. They had no videos. They found no drugs in my apartment. They went and searched my apartment. They found no evidence of anything. They didn't have any undercover footage. They didn't have any other evidence on me. Never caught me with a drop of dope. And so whenever I went in, basically what you do is you go up, you say what you have to say to the judge. Your family can speak on your behalf, and then the judge decides, he goes back and he deliberates what your time's going to be, because they have what they call the guidelines. Since I had such a high criminal history, it doesn't matter that I had never been to the feds before, right? So since I'd been to, state prison before, I was so high on the guidelines that when my guidelines came back, it came back 20 to 40 years is what my guidelines came back. So that was the minimum that he could have given me, was 20 years, because that's how they go by, as the guidelines.
Jeez. So minimum.
That's the minimum, yeah. So when I was telling my story, and then the prosecutor gets up and he's like, Judge, let me remind you that, this woman sold kilos of dope to families and blah, blah, blah. And the judge was like, well, thank you for bringing me back to reality, because basically he was like really feeling this testimony. All my kids were there. I had a 3-month-old baby that I had just had that was there, in the courtroom. And I'm crying and begging him not to take me away from my baby. I just had my baby, please. I've changed my life and all this. And he's like, Miss Perry, I'm sorry, but basically it's too late for you, is what he told me. It's too late.
If the judge could see this, and you could speak to that judge now based on the life you lived while you were in there, but who you are now as a person, like, what would you tell that judge? Like,
it's funny because going through that saved my life. It 100% saved my life. It changed me into the person that I am today. It grew my relationship with God. I'm not glorifying prison in any way, shape, form, or fashion, but prison is what you make of it, and prison is how you use it. And I used the federal prison experience to 100% better my life. And by the grace of God, I got out early, but even if I hadn't, it saved my life, because on the path that I was on, it was either going to end in death, or somebody was going to kill me, or I was going to get myself into a situation with the Mexicans that was not good. Or
yeah, I was going to say, when it comes to you being, mulatto, you're being black and white. What does race play in a woman's prison system? Like, is it just strictly just the blacks deal with the blacks, whites deal with the whites, the Mexicans deal with the Mexicans? And again, where do you fall in that line?
It does. It's not like they fight or anything, but black women do stick with black women, and white women stick with white women, and Mexicans stick with Mexicans. I mean, and the natives stick. They do group together. Like, we would have a black TV room and and then a white TV room or whatever, or the black girls would go in and watch their shows that they wanted to watch, and then we, whatever. And it was mixed too as well sometimes, but people do tend to stick with their own race. I have grown up with white people my whole life, so I normally gravitate towards the white, a lot of black women have never liked me my whole life because I was mixed. I had a lot, especially when I was growing up, so I never had a lot of black women. It's different now, of course, but growing up, a lot of black women didn't like me because of the color of my skin, because of my hair, because of this, because of that. So, but race does play a role in it. So I was kind of I just kind of stuck to myself, though. I was in church, I did the church thing, I did the choir thing. I just kind of stuck to myself, really. Except until I got to the dog program, and that was amazing.
Yeah, I was going to say, what all jobs did you do? Like what?
In the feds, I did, I was a nursing assistant, so I took care of all the women on the medical floor. I worked in the radiation department for a little while. When I went to the camp, I worked in commissary. The commissary was a great job. That's the best job in the prison. Because you get paid in the federal system. You do not in TDC, but you do in the federal system.
How much? What's the pay?
Minimum is like 19 cents an hour, I think. And then the most is like $1 something an hour. So
it don't seem like a lot, but
no,
technically
$19, like $19 or $17 to $19 a month is what you get. Like if you're just like a grade 1 and you get like 19 cents an hour, but that's deodorant and shampoo and coffee to somebody that doesn't have anything. You know what I'm saying? So at least it's something.
You mentioned the TV rooms. In the male penitentiary system, you hear about you're not supposed to touch the TV channel. There's these rules. Do the same rules apply in the female?
They do. In state prison more so than in federal prison. Federal prison, it was pretty laxed as far, but there were women that controlled the TV room, you know what I'm saying? And you would have to go into the TV room and be like, hey, so, you know what I'm saying? So-and-so, do you care if I change this and watch this to, whatever? But they're not going to fight you for it, but they're going to be like, oh yeah, honey, go ahead. Yeah, you can watch that. Or no, we're watching this program. So.
For those that don't know, because again, we spoke on this with men, but what is the main difference or the differences from state to feds for women prisons? Like, what is the main differences?
State has no air conditioning. State has parole. So you can, you get a 5-year sentence. You might only do 2 years. They don't have a lot of programs like the feds do. They don't have a lot of classes like the feds do. The feds have college. They have mental health classes. They have movie nights with popcorn, and for the Super Bowl, they give you wings, and you get to watch the Super Bowl on a big screen TV. They do shows for the kids. They do kickball tournaments, volleyball tournaments. They just do more activities, but it's because they give the women so much time. There's first-time women in there that get 30-year sentences that have never been in trouble before. And they pass 30-year sentences out like candy in the feds.
Where did you serve your time in the feds?
FMC Carswell in Fort Worth.
Did you ever serve time with anyone of noteworthy as far, I don't want to say celebrities, but anyone that like a name that people may know, like maybe related to someone or?
So nobody famous. I served time with a few murderers behind the fence that were like on Snapped. And I can't remember the names, but they did like episodes of Snapped. They did have this in FMC Carswell is the only federal prison that has maximum security for women. So there were a lot of more famous women back there. Like there was some terrorists back there that we had threats of them coming to get her. So there are more famous people. There's a lot of child molesters in FMC Carswell because they have a child molesting program there that they supposed to rehabilitate or whatever.
Give me your thoughts on that. We see a lot of let's just say teachers that might have been sleeping with a 15-year-old student, having a relationship for maybe a year, months, or whatever it was, and they end up doing time for it. What are your thoughts on a 26-year-old teacher sleeping with a 15-year-old boy and getting X amount of time?
I don't think they get enough time. I mean, there were girls that got 3-year sentences for selling their young daughter or son to somebody, to some man, or videotaping, their boyfriend going down on their 3-year-old son, and they have a 5-year sentence. And I'm sitting in here on a drug charge. Most women are sitting there on drug charges with 20, 30-year sentences. They don't get enough time. I mean, it's terrible. Some of the story, it's disgusting. And you wouldn't think that women, you don't think of women as child molesters. You think of more so of child molesters as men. But there are some women in there that did some pretty gruesome things, and they just got these little old sentences.
How do you know of the crimes they did? Is it something that's just told, or is it paperwork?
No, we know. Okay. Yeah, we know.
We asked this question as far as for you, or to all people that kind of visit the show. What is a sound that still, I don't want to say haunts, but if that's the word that fits, what is a sound in prison that still haunts you to this day, if anything?
A sound, gosh. It's maybe not a sound, but it's noise. So, like in a crowd of people, like a lot of people, because it's always so loud in prison. Like it's always people talking, conversating. There's not a quiet moment. It's always talking and noise. So whenever I go somewhere where there's a lot of a lot of people talking or a lot of noise, it's like it kind of triggers me. It's hard for me to be around because it's just, you never get a quiet moment when you're in prison.
As far as from going to state to feds, can you explain the difference as far as just kind of give us a visual outlay of what the cells look like, with the doors? I mean, just kind of break down as far as from feds to state.
Yeah. So depending upon where you go in state, of course, most prisons, they have rooms that you can go into, and then they have big day rooms. Like I said, there's no air conditioning though in state at all. And as far as, I went to one facility where it was so nice. And we had cubicles. Each woman had their own cubicles and everything in there. But in the feds, it's pretty much, one big open room. And they're all different, but FMC Carswell is one big open room. And then there's 4-man cells, upstairs, downstairs, no doors though. They're open. Then you have a day room with 4 TVs. And then you have a shower area with doors that you can actually close. So that was nice because a lot of most prisons, they don't have that. In most prisons, you have to take a shower right next to somebody in their naked body. And they had bathroom stalls that you could close too. So that was nice. When I went to the camp's like an old hotel. So you're in a room, a motel room with 6 other women. You got a lot more freedom. You can move around there. You can go, we had a lake that we could go walk around the track. It was a lot different. So depending upon where you are, it's a lot different. The feds are, like I said, they're just a lot nicer, than you get fruit every day. You get, the food's good. the medical care, like they were talking about earlier, the medical care is much better in the feds. Yeah.
You had made mention as far as, women are more like very clean creatures by nature. We think that women are clean. Can you go into the feds and be like a germaphobe and be like, oh, that's dirty. I don't want to sit on that. And I know some women that don't even sit on toilets.
You can put toilet paper down. But they have cleaning supply. Like in the state, they didn't really give you access to cleaning supplies. In the feds, you can go request cleaning supplies from the guards, and you can clean out. You can clean off the toilet, or you can clean off whatever. But when we were at the camp was much cleaner. We cleaned our rooms every single day, so it was much cleaner at the camp than it was behind the fence.
Jeez.
And women are nasty, though. I'm just put it that way. It's disgusting.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Did you ever have a situation where just a woman was just so nasty? Like you just kind of explain, like, who was she? Like, was she older? Was she like, if you want to say what race she was?
There was one girl that was, she was younger, and she used to work out a lot, and she would go to the gym, and her body odor was so bad that, you can just smell her when you walked into the room. Like if you were on the spin bike room and she was in there spinning, you fucking turned right back around and walked out the door. Just her body odor was so bad. Poor thing. It's just, she probably showered, but her just body odor was nasty. You know what I'm saying? And there's, of course, women that didn't brush their teeth, their breath stank. Women that you would go to the bathroom afterwards and there was a smell, and you know what I'm saying? There's just women that are just, you really realize, I guess you don't really realize in the free world because you don't really have to be around that many other women, but you just don't really realize how nasty some women are when you see them on the street, Like
some women, maybe their mothers didn't even
teach them how. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Did you have cellmates?
I did.
Did you have one that either you liked or didn't like? Did you ever become friends with cellmates?
So my best friends are actually all from federal prison. We've all remained in contact. We just went out to a dinner the other night and had a reunion. You get very close, especially when I talk about the camp, because it was so small. It was like 300 women. And so you really form close bonds and relationships. And when in the dog program that I was in, we lived together, we ate together, we breed together, we trained dogs together. We literally just formed such close bonds. And I was in that program for about 5 years. So those are the bonds that I have closest now. Those are my really only female friends.
What about CEOs? Did you ever get a chance to befriend a CEO? Like they'll just become real cool? Like I just...
Yeah, there are some CEOs that, you go into office, you talk to, and my counselor, Mr. Franklin, was actually, his name's Donald Franklin. He's retired now, but he was my counselor on the inside and my counselor on the outside, and he was the most amazing. I used to go in there and sing Amazing Grace to him all the time. I used to go in there and chop it up, talk to him, and he was just the coolest guy. He was a personal trainer, so he used to do exercise classes and exercise programs. But he was probably the officer that I got the closest to. He was amazing.
Now, you said you used to, of course, or sing to blow off steam. I know male prisons have talent shows in state. Did they do that?
Yeah.
Where you could have time to go show, your skills? How did those go? And did you always kind of jump in if you had time?
Yep, absolutely, always. We always went in there. I always did the talent shows. I did the shows. We put on shows for the kids. I was talking about the holiday shows or whatever. I was always involved in that. They even had live bands come in sometimes and play music for us while we were all sitting outside. I was always involved in anything that had to do with singing.
What would you say was the craziest contraband you've seen smuggled in, or someone maybe somehow got in?
A dildo.
They got a dildo in there? Yeah. That worked, or just a regular?
It worked. No, it was an actual dildo. It was unfortunately passed around.
I want to ask, how does one get a dildo in their butt?
You got it through visitation. I don't know how she did it, but you got it in there.
Jeez. For you yourself, did you ever have to I don't want to say defend your life, but you ever have to fight, physically fight someone?
I did not. I honestly, to be honest with you, I did my time without ever getting into one single fight with anybody.
Did you have an escalated argument?
I did.
How did that coil itself?
escalated argument. We just argued, but I'm not especially in prison, I'm not a fighter. Like, I will defend myself if somebody hits me, but I'm not a fighter by nature. So screaming, a lot of screaming and words and calling, name calling and things like that, and just saying very hurtful words was pretty much how it was. But to be honest, I only got into that maybe 3 times while I was locked up. I stayed to myself. I read.
Yeah. Are there any books that you read that were like notable that you don't mind sharing, like as far as some books you got through?
The Nightingale, amazing book. I read the Bible, of course, through and through several times. Outlander was an amazing book. That's an amazing series. Not really. I didn't really read any self-help books or anything like that, but I've read a lot of books.
For someone coming in, again, if you were to give them like a rule, or either let's say 3 rules to kind of do their time and get through it, what rules would you give a first timer, whether through state or through feds? What rules would you give them, like, to abide
Don't get
by?
involved in anybody else's drama. Don't touch anybody else's property, and don't accept anything from anybody, because that just never goes well.
do people offer things like?
Yes.
So the first day in, they'll probably offer something.
Yeah.
Do you remember your first day in the feds or in the state, as far as was anything out of the ordinary? Is it pretty much normal? Was the treatment okay, or do you remember like them being extra harsh on you?
So intake was a little bit different than state in the feds. So you just kind of go in to get processed. It's a long process. They go in, they interview you, they take your picture, they do this. But the counselor, I remember I told her, I was like, the one thing that stuck out is I remember telling her, I was like, I want to go to the camp. And she looked at my sentence and she was like, honey, you got a 20-year sentence. You ain't going to the camp anytime soon. You know what I'm saying? You're not going anywhere. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get there. You'll see. You know what I'm saying? I'll get there. And, but the intake process, so you go through all that, and then you get taken to your dorm, and it's very different from the intake process in state. In state, I was talking about the dog pound. You got to go to the dog pound and in a kennel basically for about 7 days while you get processed in. So yeah, it's a big difference between the intake from the feds and the state.
So for you, as far as getting out, again, for Trump to have did that on his executive order on his way out, walk us through the day as far as you knowing that you're going to get out, and how much time from the day that you known to getting out, and also like getting out. How was that for you? Who picked you up? Were you on a bus? Like what?
So the night before, I saw the chaplain the night before President Trump left office. And I was like, I told the chaplain, because we were very close, because I did a lot of things for him, a lot of programs. And so I saw the chaplain and I told him, I was like, I just want to tell you bye. And he's like, what? I said, I just want to tell you bye because I'm leaving tomorrow. And he's like, okay, yeah, right. I'm like, I promise you I'm leaving tomorrow. I had no idea, of course. So that we had just gotten new puppies that night for our dog program. And so I had my new puppy, and I was up all night with the puppy. You get crying and whining. So that morning, we're taking our dogs out to go to the bathroom, and we got the TV on because it was during COVID. So we had TVs in our room because we were kind of confined to our rooms. So we had the TV on of his exit, of him leaving. And I'm like, fuck, I guess it didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? No word, no nothing on the TV, no news coverage, no anything. So I'm outside with my dog, and my counselor, Mr. Franklin, my homeboy, he comes walking down the sidewalk. He wasn't supposed to be there that day. He comes walking down the sidewalk. I've got my dog, and he's like, Miss Perry. I'm like, what's up, Franklin? What are you doing here today? And he's like, you haven't heard? And I'm like, haven't heard what? What are you talking about? You haven't heard that we got our new dogs or what? What are you talking about? And so it's like, really, you haven't heard anything? And I'm like, oh, Mr. Franklin, like, what are you talking about? So he's like, come to my office. So I'm like, oh, fuck. So I go in his office, and I've got my dog in my hand, and he sits down, and I said, I'm going to make a phone call real quick. And he's like, I'm like, who are you calling? He's like, I'm just going to make a phone call real quick. So he gets on the phone, and he dials the number, and it's my mom. And he's like, Miss Perry, and I'm like, Mom? And she's like, Terry, you made it. You got clemency. They called me last night and told me you got clemency. And I got goosebumps right now. I almost dropped my dog. I mean, it was the most emotional day that I had ever had. And remember, I told you when I first got locked up that God spoke to me and told me that I was not going to do all my time. I had a vision about a year into my incarceration, this very moment that I would get clemency, that I would be in Mr. Franklin's office, and that he would be the one to tell me that I got clemency. I literally had that vision a year into my incarceration.
Amazing.
So I'm standing there, I almost dropped my dog. My mom's telling me blah, 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 blah. I'm jumping up and down. Mr. Franklin's just got this huge smile on his face, and he's just so happy. And I'm like, are you serious? Y'all are lying to me. And he's like, Miss Perry, he's like, we're not lying to you. Yes, you got clemency. So I ran out the door, went in the room, gave my dog to somebody else, and was just screaming, I got clemency, I got clemency. And so literally we left, there were four of us, that got clemency, that all had the same lawyer working for us, Miss Jane Murray. And we all left that day. And it was one other girl in the dog program. She had no idea she was getting out. And so it was another friend of mine, Melissa, and then another girl. So they either have the option to keep you for a while longer or let you out that same day. And then they let us out that same day. So we had literally like 2 hours to pack all of our stuff up, to get ready, and we left that day. And I'm packing all my stuff up, trying to get it all together, trying to figure out what I'm going to give everybody, and I was just I couldn't stop talking, and all the chaplain came to see me, and when he came to the door, I was like, I told you I'm leaving today. And he was like, you did.
Normally, again, with a lot of men I speak to, they don't leave that quickly. You're leaving within 2 hours of being told.
Within 2 hours of being being clemency.
Well, there's some people that you were just going to miss while you were in there.
Oh, yeah. It sounds funny, but I miss prison every day. And the aspect that I miss of it is the familiar aspect of it, and the closeness that I have with those women. It was very special. And I miss it. Not like I miss being there and I don't like being out in the free world, but that's what I miss about it, because those women were just some amazing women.
Getting out, was anyone there to
my
pick
mom.
you? Okay, your mom.
Yeah, my mom came to get me. We went to Whataburger.
Shout out Whataburger. If you're in Texas, you know. How was that like just getting out Whataburger? Just like, did you want to do
overwhelming?
Did you want to just be like sit in a room by yourself, or did you want to let's do everything? I wanted
to do everything, but everything was so overwhelming. And I remember we had to go to Walmart that night to get stuff. And I walked into Walmart and there were so many options and so many choices. I had a panic attack because there was just so many options. I couldn't make a choice for myself for a good 2 months after I got out. And I couldn't sleep. For the first, my mom, I couldn't sleep for the first 2 or 3 weeks. I could not go to sleep because I was just so overwhelmed with thankfulness and gratefulness. I can't even explain it to you why I couldn't sleep.
Whose house did you go home to?
My mom. She lived in a little RV.
Okay.
So I went to stay with her in her little RV, and then we moved out there. We moved out of that and into an apartment and such, and moved up. But yeah, I went to her little RV. She never thought she was going to see me again, I wasn't supposed to get out till 2031, and she would have been.
Who knows? What was probably one thing, a simple thing that you missed while you were in there, just serving any kind of time? Just for those, it's just perspective, a small thing that, people might take for granted out here. What was one thing that you missed?
Picking your own clothes. You have to wear the same thing. Having the ability to decide what you want to eat because you have the same thing every day. Turning on a light switch.
Turning on a light switch.
Having the ability to turn off and on the lights whenever I wanted to. That's probably honestly, that's probably the number one thing.
It's something so simple that people do not
turning on a light switch.
That's amazing. Did you ever have thoughts of escape?
No.
If you were to ever escape, did you ever see loopholes in the prison? If I ever wanted to really do this, whether state or federal,
the camp was honestly the easiest place to escape from because it was literally by a lake, and all you had to do was cross that lake a little bit to go to main ground. So that was the easiest place to escape from. So if I was to escape, that's how I would have escaped: was get in the lake, go to a little piece of land, and right there is the highway.
Did anyone ever attempt?
I don't think so. I don't think anyone had ever attempted to escape from the lake there.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, that's where I would have done it for sure.
No, that'd be crazy. What do you feel are some misconceptions that people have about female prisons? Like as you're talking to people, what do you think are some misconceptions that people think is going on from the outside looking in?
I think for especially women's prisons, I think a lot of people think that, that women are in there maybe like, just getting high or doing drugs or dealing drugs or, because a lot of the times you see men's prison shows and you don't see women's prison shows. Not a lot of times. Most of the time it's men's prison shows. But they have misconceptions of women and what the inside is like for them, or that there is the gang activity or, all this and all that. And most of the time, most of the women's prisons are just filled up with women who had a drug problem, who got in trouble over with a guy, and who are just in there missing their families. You know what I'm saying? Most of the time. There's terrible women in there, but, that's what I think the biggest misconception is. These aren't women who are out there gang banging on the streets and, running around the streets and doing these things. Most of them aren't. I mean, maybe some of them are, but not the ones I ever encountered.
Definitely. With that being said, again, as we keep doing these episodes, and we're not here to glorify the penitentiary system, the prison system. But as I always try to end each little episode with some type of words of wisdom, words of hope, if you don't mind, as far as let TV land out there know what they're giving up. Again, outside of of course the lights and changing clothes, but what they're giving up when they actually go into a prison system, if you don't mind.
You're giving up your choice of everything. You're giving up your choice of what time that you get up. You're giving up your choice of what you eat. You're giving up your choice of when you go to bed. You're giving up your choice of what you want to watch on TV. You're giving up your choice of when you can move around at certain times. You're giving up your choice of when you can use the phone to call your family. You're giving up your choice of pretty much everything. What you wear, you don't have a choice. You just don't have a choice of where you work. They'll stick you wherever they want to. So you're giving up your freedom of being able to choose what you want to do for your life, pretty much in every little detail.
I had an inmate, of course, male. He has stated that one thing that he missed is just the simpleness of making love. Like, he doesn't get to, like, that. Once that left, it's like, I don't get to do that no more. Yeah. For women, do women get through like with masturbation, or is it like just they're able to just turn it off and be good?
I was able to turn it off. It's crazy. You have to turn it off, like, unless you're with another woman, because where are you going to masturbate at? Like, you can't masturbate in your room with your roommates at night. You can't. And a woman is mental, right? So a woman has to be in the right mental space in order to be able to, whatever. So it's different for a woman. I'm sure some women did masturbate, but for me, that was something that I did miss a lot, because I wasn't ever in that right mind frame, because I can't be in the bed with 4 other women in the room masturbating at night. You know what I'm saying? It's mental. Women are mental, more mental, and we have to feel it in our minds in order to be able to, to do that. So yeah, but it's a big aspect of it, is love, affection, touch, things like that are very important for women.
Did you ever have to serve any solitary or anything of that nature?
No.
Okay. Yeah. You sound like you were good. You sound like you did your time right.
I did.
Yeah,
I did. I 100% did. I was the 100% absolute model inmate. I was not bad at all. I didn't get into any trouble. Not ever. I didn't never catch a case one time I was incarcerated.
There you go. Well, with that being said, Tara, I appreciate you again. Again, this is Prison Stories 101. We're just, again, I always say this, we're always scratching the surface. There are more stories to tell. And again, for the friendships that you garnered in there, I'm sure a lot of other women who are going to be watching this could relate to the stories that you told here. But with that being said, I appreciate you for coming back on. And once again, this is Prison Stories 101.